We stay alive all of the time. It's kind of tiring, always trying to win and never finishing. The songs are right, I never finishing. The songs are right, I never finishing. The songs are right. Time flies by when I'm feeling low, but
Hi everyone, welcome to this next session of INO CON. We are doing the songwriting process with Lyre. We have with us today Alina Smith and Elli Moore. You guys are in for a real treat with them. So just to get started, let me do a quick bio on them. Lyre is a music production and songwriting duo comprised of Alina and Elli. Lyre is best known as the premier music producers for the digital age, writing and producing hit records for today's top digital creators such as Kenzie Ziegler, Lexi Jade, Nikki and Gabby Hanna, as well as traditional acts such as Fall Out Boy, Betty Who, Kirsten Maldonado of Pentatonics, Red Velvet, Itsy, and more. Together, Alina and Elli have accumulated hundreds of millions of streams and earned several #1 singles. Lyre are also well known in the sound design space with their splice sample pack called Perfect Pop. I would recommend, go check it out. As well, Alina is a self-taught producer-engineer with 15 plus years of experience. She specializes in cutting-edge instrumental pop production as well as crisp pop vocal production. Having spent 6 years in a publishing deal with BMG Nashville, she's also an accomplished lyricist and melody writer, skills which she shows off on her new solo artist project, written and produced entirely by herself, like a queen. And Elli is an exceptional top liner with an ear for current pop trends. She's been writing and singing since the age of 12, and this is really fun. She's currently the singing voice of Barbie on the Netflix show Barbie's Dreamhouse Adventure. Elli is also an artist, and her EP Confections, which I would highly recommend, debuted in 2020 to praise from publications like Billboard, Celeb Secrets, and Tiger Beat. And just wow, like there's so much to break down from all of that. Like I don't know like what everyone right now is currently like latched onto, but there are a lot of things going on here. Very impressed by you two. I want to start by going into your backgrounds just a little bit more than what I just explained to everyone. So maybe starting with Alina, what is your background in music just a little more in depth? More specifically, how did you get into songwriting and music production?
Absolutely. So I started out as a singer, and I was a singer in a kids band from the time I was like 6. So I was always in music, and specifically with production. So I wanted to be an artist originally. I'm still an artist, but that was my main focus. And what I found was that first of all, I couldn't really find a producer that like aligned with my sound, really could do exactly what I wanted. Also, I didn't have any money. So, and producers are expensive. So I was just like, how hard could this be? And then 15 years later, I finally got kind of good at it. Right. And now I do it for a lot of other artists.
Awesome. And Elli, what about you? What is your background in music, and more specifically, how did you get into songwriting and singing like you're doing now?
Yeah. So I mean, kind of similar to Alina, like, my first and foremost thing was, being an artist. I was in musical theater when I was a kid, and I was really fortunate that I had parents that, kind of saw this gravitational pull towards like, music and performing. And so, yeah, that got nurtured from a really young age. I was in Nashville, Tennessee by 13, and just writing with, these renowned songwriters that like 13-year-olds just normally don't get the chance to write with. So I was nurtured and really taken care of by a lot of professional songwriters who helped me really like hone in the craft. But more specifically, when I was 18, Alina and I started working together. We'd just been best friends at that point because we met when I was 16. So our friendship is also like very special, and to everyone should know like our team dynamic works so well just because of our friendship.
It's literally based on our friendship. Like,
yeah,
we were friends first, and we will be friends last.
I mean, Mallory literally just heard us for like probably 10 minutes talk about like Star Wars and like all of our favorite things.
Deep dive Star Wars theories.
Yes, and so like that's our friendship is like first and foremost. But when I was 18, we started working together, and I kind of just like been writing here and there, nothing like to write home about. But when we joined forces, like all the doors just started opening up, and being this like team with my best friend became such a priority. And so then songwriting really took over, and that's like how I became a professional songwriter, because like I said, the artistry was first and foremost. But then when we started doing things together, like I said, all the doors opened, and I just couldn't say no to all the really awesome opportunities and stuff that were brought to us. And so just writing for other people became such a passion. And now I got to, like you said, release my EP back in 2020. And doing the artist thing is still really present in my life for both of us. And it's really nice to kind of have a full circle thing. So, if anybody out there is, an artist and wanting to be an artist, a really great path that I think works for a lot of people, like Julia Michaels and, you know, all these awesome songwriters. Yeah, they like start, as artists, kind of do the songwriter thing for a minute and can definitely circle back to being an artist. That's always a really
it's
promising
actually
path.
Yeah, I was super resistant to that. I for like 10 years didn't ever write for anybody else, ever produce for anybody else, because I just thought that would like take my focus away from my artistry. But honestly, it just made me so much better. And now that I do my artist project again, I can write it, I can produce it, I can mix it, like because I have the skills from working with the others. So it's like a great path to take.
Definitely.
So awesome. Yeah, you guys have such impressive backgrounds. I wanted to ask you, how is the balance like in your duo? Like who does what? How does the process work for making songs?
I'll go. Our dynamic is really awesome. It's actually evolved a lot over the years because like I said, I did start very young with her. So responsibilities were, a lot different when I was younger. And as far as just like her experience as a writer and a producer, she just knew a lot more than me. And like, it was.
I'm older. I'm like almost 10 years older. So it made sense.
Yeah. And we were like, it was almost like a mentorship partnership, like where it was like, we both taught each other so many things. Like, I think, what a lot of what I brought to the table was a lot of like the socialization aspect of like, let's get in sessions, like, let's reach out to people, like, let's do more outreach, like, let's focus on this because, being 18, I was like, I'm afraid of no one.
I actually like really want to like put a pin in that too, because I think a lot of people talk about being a songwriter or a producer strictly in terms of the craft, which is very important. But a lot of people ignore like the socialization, networking aspect of it, which is, I hate to say it, like half of it. It really, really is. And the reason I only started having success literally after we got together as a team is because I was horrendous at it before. I just like didn't see people, didn't go anywhere, just like sat in my room and like made beats and wrote songs. So,
But it was really amazing though, because it really helped hone the craft. So, but actually back to the dynamic. So a lot of like, it changed over the years. I, was doing a lot of that and like the songwriting obviously, but that was kind of like, my biggest strength and what I brought to the team. And then over the years, like I think, we do a lot. I'll let you kind of like jump in because I was like,
you just became an amazing songwriter. You were good when you were a kid, but you like really honed your craft as you got older. And for me, when we first got together on my production, I mostly worked in country music because we were in Nashville. So I actually didn't have much of a background in pop music production at all. So I had to kind of learn it from scratch and learn it as fast as I could. So that wasn't my strength when we started. It was actually more top lining. Yeah. And as we get older as a team, I take a lot of steps back from top lining and just let Elli and whoever else is in the room like really take care of that. Like I'll make suggestions and stuff, and for my own project, like top line it, but for a lot of like sessions for other artists, like I'm happy to take a step back and just focus on the track, which is like the majority of what I do now.
I think the like synopsis is like, it really just depends on what we're doing. Cause like, if she and I are writing by ourselves, we are like all in on top line together, obviously.
It also depends on like when we do something. If I'm making a track in the room right now, like in the session, I kind of have to focus on it. But if I made it beforehand, I can pretty much just be a top liner and write to it as if somebody else made it.
And then I usually cut the vocals for pitch records. So if it's like going to, Itsy or whatever,
she has a great voice for just all kinds of different pitches. She can like adjust it a little bit to make it better for that particular pitch. My voice is really just like my voice. I'm not as talented at that aspect. No. Well, like really, I can't like change it too much. So you're really, really good at singing for pitch as well as for your artist project.
And you do.
I would echo that as well. Okay, so getting into more of the songwriting process, I want to talk about different experiences you've had writing. So I couldn't do this panel without starting by talking about Itsy. Can you guys like break it down for us what's currently happening with the track? And for anyone who doesn't know, Itsy is a pretty big K-pop group, and Liar wrote a song for them called In the Morning that's like a huge hit right now. Yeah, so give us the update. What's going on with that?
Thank you so much. We're like honestly over the moon. Like we could not be more excited We're such fans. Like
She's Mitzi.
I'm so Mitzi. It's like not even funny.
She's like do the dance.
Oh my gosh, I like pretty much know the choreography, and like it's such a special thing for us as a team, especially because we did it just the two of us with the help of JYP and
basically
translators. But as far as just like its inception conception, yes, inception, whatever.
Yeah.
It was here, so it was just the two of us, and so that was like really special and cool for us to have our biggest song thus far be Liar and really represent that. So now it's at I think 90.
It's like 93 million. I checked last night.
Okay, yeah, 93 million
on YouTube. I don't know how much it is on Spotify. I think it's over 20 million now on Spotify, which is really amazing. Seeing that it's been only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, it's 22 million on Spotify. So
wow.
It was #1 in Heat Seekers on Billboard. I don't remember the numbers, but I know it entered the 200 Billboard. I know it was on 100 Billboard for K-pop.
It's just wild.
It's wild. Yeah.
it's one of the coolest experiences, especially like because a lot of I think K-pop has grown in the American market so much over the past like 5 years, and we've been doing it for the past 6. So it's like pretty special that something that we've invested in for a while and been such fans of the K-pop genre and the community, J-pop as well, C-pop. We really just like love all the types of music that come with like the creativity.
We just honestly half the time I will send her a K-pop track that I find on Spotify. I'm like, check that out.
It's wild. and I think the thing that's really special about it too is there's really no politics in it. And I think that a lot of the times the American market can be very political in the way of like, okay, like this writer's really hot right now. We want them absolutely everything. And
or like an artist will only do songs with their team, which I kind of get it. We're a little bit like that too. Like we love working together and then with like a few people that we love. But it is tough as a songwriter to place any songs in the American market just because of how like tightly knit like the families are of the writers that work on certain projects.
But there's none of that in K-pop. And they care only about how great the song is and like how like the hit quality of it. And that's to the root of songwriting, something that I'm glad is being preserved, of like it's open for anybody to
just write a good song.
Just write an amazing song, like make it happen. And like that's the coolest aspect of it, I think, for us. So
that's amazing. And like, can you walk us through what it's like to write for K-pop, J-pop, any of these types of genres? Like, you guys, I guess, I'm assuming, don't speak really any of those languages. So what is it like to write for that?
I wish we did. I wish we did. Oh gosh, like, because I just want to go to Tokyo so bad, and I just don't want to go until like I have some sort of like ability or just like the basic manners. Like I'd like to just like be respectful, because like I'd like to not just be like, I know nothing. Hi. Yeah, like I think we're such fans of the genre because we love melody, and that's the first and foremost thing that comes with this.
So the thing is, basically most writers that are not Korean, which I think a lot of Scandinavian writers are really heavy in K-pop, more Americans now, but like still I think mostly Scandinavian as far as like non-Asians. Basically the way that works is you write songs in English, and the way K-pop works is they usually keep their titles in English. Not always, but a lot of the times. And they like to have like sprinkles of English words in songs as well. So most of the time when you pitch demos to Korean labels, it is in English. And if they like the melody and the track and the title, like what it's about, then they change it around to Korean. They translate it, or sometimes they write new lyrics, but like with the same theme. So
like In the Morning, for example, like it was called Mafia, like because of the game and everything, like, and then the title became In the Morning because of the translation that the Korean writers that wrote on In the Morning, Mafia, brought their meaning to it and like their translation to it, and then it became In the Morning because it was like, oh, like, will catch you, or you'll catch me in the morning,
Yeah,
like when it's light outside, which is really awesome. And that's not in our original lyric,
No.
but it's just cool to see how the translation like works and what the song ends up actually being from its inception.
Yeah. And I think the main things to focus on writing K-pop are melodies and track. And the track is probably like the tracks I make for K-pop now are like the most challenging tracks I make, I would say, definitely, because the more creative and the more unusual it is, the better. Like things like key changes, tempo changes, feel changes, like going from 4 on the floor to halftime, all welcome. It can be very like unusual and even like jarring, like non-conventional, even a little jarring, and they really, really like that. So yeah, a lot of what we write is just like really focus on getting like a unique, interesting sounding track. Like within the morning, I was actually making a TikTok about it this morning, and I looked at the original session and I look at how I made that lead, that do 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 do, because I didn't remember. And what it was actually a bass that was flipped like 3 octaves, and then the bottom end was EQ'd out, and I think some of the top end was EQ'd out too. Yeah. And that's how I made that lead, which I completely forgot. I thought it was just like I don't know, like a synth reset or something. So yeah, they just like unusual sounds like that a lot. Just creative production decisions. You can just get like really kind of wild with it. So.
Yeah, like we said, it's like we really focus on catchy melodies. That's really, like you said, walking you through the process is like, track is really, really important. Just having a really catchy idea, title, and then it's just melody city from there.
Yeah,
we're just really coming in hot with
and
melodies.
Melody is really important as far as like the catchy hooks, but even just like the verses and like the movement of the melody. It's kind of hard to like condense this into like a few words, but there's a lot of theory that goes into that, and understanding of K-pop and how it moves. Like if anybody's interested in writing K-pop top line, I would just say listen to what's out there and analyze it. Be like, okay, like where does it change? How does it change? Where does it go up? Where does it go down? What are the dynamics? Because there's a lot of it, and it's a bit different than European or American music.
Wow, lots of great insights there for anyone who's interested in K-pop. Like, yeah, listen to them. I also wanted to ask, since you both have solo projects, what's the difference writing for yourself versus other people? Like, how do you determine what you are going to put out? I know some writers who are also artists are attached to certain songs and they're like, I couldn't give this away. This is like my baby. Like, do you feel that way? Or yeah, like, how do you make that decision?
Oh my God, of course. Like, and also great questions. Like, you are crushing the questions.
Yeah,
I just have to tell you that. Like,
yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, I mean, like, I know you definitely like have that for sure of like, these are my stories.
Yeah, for me, it's super obvious, and the songs are like, they have such like personal lyrics that there's literally nobody else that could sing it. Like my song Breakfast has this lyric of thought they mailed me like an order, because I came to the US, not to get into this whole thing, but came to the US really young. I got married. So a lot of people are like, it was just mail order bride. So I literally put that in the song. It's all about empowerment, like me kind of like calling myself out on some like mean things people said to me. So, it's a lot of stuff like that. And I think for you, it's like that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, like my song Okay that we wrote together. I mean, like it is one of my favorite songs we've ever written. And like for me, when we wrote it, of course, like I have this mindset of like, I want to make a living. So like if Selena Gomez wants to cut Okay, like sure, she can have it. Like I'm not going to be like, Selena Gomez cannot have my song. Sorry. Bye. Like I'm not going to do that. I have the like awareness to be like, that would be really good for me. But there is that moment of like, if it's not Selena Gomez, it's for me. So it's like, it's a really, really special thing to get to be an artist and to have personal songs that, resonate with you so much and, we care about. So.
Awesome. Thanks for that. And
here.
Yeah, we do have a question from Consuelo. How could one get a writer's deal with a major?
I can answer that. I mean, I can at least like tell you how like it happened for me, which is pretty unusual. So I was in Nashville, and I was looking for a publishing deal. I didn't really have anything going on. To be honest, I had like no cuts. This is like 2014. Had literally nothing going on. So I literally just, I pitched myself around as an artist, writer, and producer by making CDs of music that I've done, walking around Music Row, because in Nashville, there's like several streets that are all the labels and all the everybody's on there. And I literally just like walked in and gave my CDs to the receptionist. And I mean, that usually doesn't work. And I also sent cold emails. Also, again, like a really like doesn't usually work. But I sent a cold email to my publisher that I've been with for 7 years, that I just exited out of that deal, but it was great for the 7 years that I was in it. And basically I just sent her a cold email with my music. And yeah, I would just say like I basically got my deal on like the strength, I guess, of my writing, which is unusual. I think in a lot of the time, a lot of cases, the way people do it, which is more of what I suggest, is to co-write with people that are a little bit more like in the industry. It's gonna be really hard for a new writer to get to write with like well-known writers, but even like newer writers that have like a little bit more success, I think that's great, because if you write something good with them, maybe you get invited to a session with like a little bit more well-known writer, and it's almost like climbing the ladder in a way. And as you write with people, the ones that have publishers send their music to their publishers. And a lot of the times the question is, who did you write that with? So if you're writing a lot of good songs with signed writers, their publisher definitely takes notice and they reach out. And that's definitely happened to
That happens to me all the time.
To you all the time. So
Yeah.
I definitely suggest that more than like how it happened for me. I think like the way it happened for me was like weird and a fluke. Like this is more of a reliable way to do it.
Yeah, just writing with other people and meeting different teams through that will definitely help.
Awesome. Thanks for that insight. I also wanted to ask you about writing for influencers. I know you have quite a few on your credits. And for those who don't know much about like those influencers, what do you do for them? Do you write songs that they end up recording? I see a couple of them, yeah. Or do you like also make music that's like background to their content if they're like YouTubers? Like what do you do for them?
That's such a good question. Yeah. I mean, it kind of just depends on whatever they want. It's quite awesome that, we're in a generation and an age where music is applicable in so many different places. Like obviously, like radio has been a thing, but there are only so many like platforms to like being in the music industry. Now it's like, obviously TV and film's always been a thing, but you've got TV and film, you've got podcasts, you've got vlogs, you've got, like weekly shows people do on YouTube. You've got like just so many different platforms to be able to create music for. So, it really is just kind of whatever. We've done campaigns for people. There was one artist that we worked with, her name is Alina. She is a content creator and like a vlogger and makeup artist. Yeah, makeup artist. Like and she did a palette with the makeup brand Tarte, and it was yellow because her whole aesthetic is yellow. And I don't know if it still is currently, but it was at the time. Always is like is a staple about her and her brand. And so we wrote a song promoting the palette, and also was like a really awesome, beautiful music video that she did that went along with it. And so being an artist can also like be a hobby for people. It doesn't have to be a main thing, which, some people, like for us, it's like, it's our main thing. It's what we want to do. It's, our like tunnel vision of our favorite thing to do in music. But, it is really cool that other people can be in music and have their own defined version of success and not be their main thing. So it's really cool that you can be in music, and like I said, it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. Yeah,
exactly. I'll just see another question. How do you stay creative? Did you find a routine and certain influences that keep you creative every day? I think that's a great question.
That's great. Oh, sorry, Mallory. Do you want us to wait on these questions till the end?
It popped up.
No. It's totally fine. I was actually going to say this is probably a good one that we can linger on for a couple of minutes before we wrap up. So go ahead.
Okay, perfect. How do we stay creative?
I think it goes in phases. To be honest, like I think it's impossible to maintain this like high level of creativity at all times, because we're cyclical beings as humans. Like nothing is ever the same. So I definitely notice myself, because I've been doing this for so long, I definitely notice myself going through ups and downs, just depending on what's going on. Like I feel like right now we're in a really creative phase. We're writing so much K-pop. We're collaborating with our friend Jordan, with our friend Scott, with our friend Gina, like writing tons of stuff that we would really, really like and enjoy, and just feeling really good, you know. But we've definitely had moments that it's just a little bit more like, it's our job, you know, like it feels more like that. I think some of the tips would be to expand your horizons musically. Maybe listen to music you haven't really listened to before. Like for example, we've never really made Latin music, but I really love listening to Latin music, like Bad Bunny, you know, just like something that's really not what I make at all, and get just like inspiration and just enjoy it really as a listener too. So I think we can get to this space where we're just like really jaded and we're like, ugh, music, you know, because it is like our job. But listening to something that's unusual to you, I think is a really great way to do it.
I would also say like living life, like actually just like giving yourself time to live your life and experience things, because all of our best stuff has come from very personal experiences. And if you don't have anything to pull from, it's probably because you aren't experiencing as many like different things as you possibly can. So it's like, you know, I mean, people always say like you come up with your best music when you're going through a breakup or when you're going through something like a little more difficult. It's like, you know, not that we want everyone to be like in a tragic artist and only have to go through things to be creative, but it's like, you know, positive and negative things, like no matter what they are, you can pull from them. Like if you and your best friend have a falling out, boom, song. If you like, you know, if you're having some family troubles, boom, song. Like don't be afraid to get vulnerable. Don't be afraid to, you know, if you're like, the best piece of advice is like, if there's that thing that you're like, I can't write about that, that's the thing you should absolutely write about.
Probably something you should write about.
That's 100% the thing you should write about, because it will be therapeutic and you don't have to share it with anybody. But that thing, like kind of popping that cork and like letting that go will open up a whole new, I guess, like connection to your music that creates, like I said, vulnerability and just pure creativity. So
it's true. I would also say just resting. I know you hardly hear this advice. Everybody's just like, you gotta grind, you gotta hustle. Like, I don't know, like the more you grind, the more the quality of what you do deteriorates. Like I noticed that with myself. Like if I haven't taken a weekend in 3 weeks, you can tell. You can tell by what I make, how I feel, how I act toward people. Not, you know, I try to control myself, but like it slips out that you're not rested. So I would say if it's possible at all, take as much rest as you can.
Yeah. So I love it.
That's such great advice. You guys, I could listen to you talk all day. Like, I know you were worried about time. So I guess I would just say for anyone who's watching, definitely go give them a follow on Instagram, and you're on TikTok too, right? At Lyre.
Lyre Official.
Lyre Official. And you guys are also hosting a conference in July, is that right?
Yes, we are. So at the end of July, we're hosting our first songwriting, production, music industry expo. It's called Modern Music Expo. I would strongly suggest anybody that's interested in learning from really great panelists to get on the wait list. Right now, the link is bit.ly/Lyre Expo. So you can kind of just like get on the wait list. And as soon as we have dates, a little bit more of the schedule set up, you will get a notification about that. Yeah, and we're really excited just to, you know, bring forth more information like this.
And it'll be all from like current hit tastemakers, people like who are writing songs for Katy Perry, who have, you know, songs on the radio. We're
currently in a management company managing a hit writer. So
yeah, lots of different people. We've got some people who like, play songs, just like different perspectives from so many different people, and all of it being current and like really, really helpful information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone who's been watching this would have any doubt like how valuable that's going to be. You guys have like all of the right like advice and connections. So yeah, would just like highly recommend following these two on their musical journey, because it's bound to be even more incredible than it's already been. Thank you so much for being with us today, Alina and Elli, and we hope to hear more from you soon in the future.
Yes, thank you guys so much for having us.